Hi, I'm Sarah Tuck from Dish Magazine, and today it's a tomato extravaganza. I'm going to show you first off how to make this gorgeous tomato salad with roasted capsicums. So to start with, you need to preheat the oven to 180 degrees, and then you need to take out the tops of 2 red and 2 yellow capsicum. Stick them in a roasting dish and into the oven, and they take about 20 to 25 minutes, or even sometimes it's just a wee bit more, to blacken and roast on the outside. Then I take them straight out of the roasting dish, and you can either cover them with a tea towel. What I do is with plastic wrap, so they're kind of sealed tight. And what happens is the capsicum sweat inside this little steam bath, and it makes the skin super easy to take off, she says. Ha ha ha. Let's see if I'm telling the truth. So having sat in this covered bowl until they're cool, the skins are just like incredibly easy to remove. And you know, it's not the end of the world if a little bit of skin attaches itself to some of it, but it's nice to get most of it off. It's actually more, it's not the charcoaly flavour, it's actually the scratchiness of it in your throat. You know, on the outside of the capsicum, I much prefer it just like really soft. Claire was just saying that she's heard of people who run the capsicum under a cold tap before they take the skins off, or after they take the skins off. As they take the skins off. Don't do that. You're taking all this lovely charry flavour away from them. So, yeah, so no putting them under the tap. Just take the skins off and use them as they are. So now I'm just going to slice these thickly and pop them to one side until I'm ready to construct the salad. So one of the things that is truly spectacular about this salad is that it's made with fresh tomatoes and roasted capsicums, but the dressing's actually made out of tomatoes as well. It is absolutely stunning, and it's one of our favourite dressings of all time. So first thing you need to do is just slice in half 2 regular tomatoes, and then use a spoon just to take the seeds out of the centre. And really that just kind of helps with the intensity of flavour, that you're just using the skin rather than the kind of watery bits in the middle. Right, so what I'm now doing now is using the box grater to grate the flesh on the inside so that we've just got the flesh and not the skin in the dressing. So after you've finished grating, all you're left with is this grated flesh from the inside of the tomato. The skins are left over and you discard those, and you've already taken out the seeds and the kind of the wet inside of it. So what you've got is just this really lovely intense tomato pulp from the middle. So now we've got our delicious tomato pulp. I'm just going to add 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil and 3/4 teaspoon of sweet smoked paprika, 2 teaspoons of sherry vinegar. Oh my God, this smells amazing even as I'm making it. And oops, a little bit of sea salt and some freshly ground black pepper. And 2 nice big generous cloves of garlic crushed. And I'm just going to whisk that together, and it tastes and smells absolutely incredible. And I'm just going to pop that to one side while we put the rest of the salad together. So to construct the salad, all you need to do is thickly slice your selection of tomatoes, and I've got a combination here of different colours, some regular supermarket store-bought tomatoes, as well as some gorgeous heirloom tomatoes. And it works either way, but I mean, it does look spectacularly pretty when you've got those, that combination of the variegation with the seeds and the different colours throughout. So the only thing that you want to do here is, it doesn't matter if you use different sized tomatoes, but ideally cut them a similar thickness so they will work together on the plate. And so to finish off, it couldn't be any easier. I'm just going to layer the gorgeous tomatoes into this plate. Once I've got those in, I'm going to start dotting in a little bit of the capsicum. And again, kind of going for the same thing that I've done in other recipes where I have this slightly random approach with the colours and the sizes, so that you've got an organic feeling to it rather than trying to be too specifically even with everything that you do. The colour's just absolutely gorgeous. And like Claire was saying before, this salad really is like a total celebration of summer. It doesn't get any better than this, really. And so we're serving it today with lamb, but it would go equally well with beef, even with seafood, with chicken, great with barbecues, just an absolutely gorgeous salad. So I'm just going to finish off with this incredible stracciatella. You could also use burrata or buffalo mozzarella, or even if you fancy, you could use a little bit of sprinkled feta. But what's lovely about this is it's just got this incredibly gorgeous, milky, creamy texture and flavour that works beautifully with the sweetness of the tomatoes and the smoky acidity of the dressing. It's absolutely stunning. It is absolutely gorgeous. And Claire and I have both decided this is one of our favourite salads of all time. And it's really hard to have a favourite when you're working with food all the time, because we're always, working with such gorgeous recipes, but we were both absolutely besotted with this one. So I'm glad that you're giving it a go. And I'm just going to finish with one little sprinkle of sea salt.
And you could actually serve that with some beautiful grilled bread.
Oh, gorgeous.
And say
yeah.
good white eggs or something like that, and that is just the most beautiful meal.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. I'm going to show you how to make these amazing seared lamb backstraps with our beautiful crushed olive and fennel dressing. So first off, all you need is a little bit of olive oil, and I've already got my pan on the heat, coming to a really nice high heat. And I'm going to brush these all over with the olive oil. And you don't need a brush, you can do it with your hands if you fancy. But I've been cooking all day in this kitchen, making different recipes, and I've done lots of gooby hand stuff already, so I'm going to use the brush now. Putting the olive oil on the backstraps like this means that you don't actually even need to put any oil in the pan, because they're going to sear and not stick from the oil that you've already put on. And having said I wasn't going to get my hands gooby, I'm about to salt and pepper and rub that all over them. And these are ginormous lamb backstraps, so if yours are a little bit smaller, I would recommend probably going up to 6, because they're going to be sliced in the end anyway, so they're not served individually. Right. So these are just going to go straight into my lovely hot pan. And that's what you want. You want them to sizzle straight away. You don't want to stew this gorgeous tender meat. You want it to sear quickly on the outside. And in fact, I'm only going to put 3 in, because if I put another one in, it's going to crowd the pan. So these are only going to take 2 to 3 minutes each side. And then we're going to let them rest for a solid 5 to 10 minutes before slicing them. Okay, so the lamb backstraps have just had 2 minutes each side in a really hot frying pan, and now I'm just going to rest them for 5 to 10 minutes while I put the rest of the salad together. And to do that, first we're going to make the dressing, which is incredibly easy. So all you need is 1/4 cup of olive oil, and we always use extra virgin olive oil in our dressings, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 cloves of garlic crushed, and I mention this every time, but I think it's really worth saying, we use nice big grunty cloves of garlic, and so if you've got teeny tiny little cloves of garlic, please use 3. And 2 tablespoons of capers, which are sensational. So I'm just about to add a teaspoon of dry fried fennel seeds. And what I mean by dry frying is that we don't add any oil to the pan. It's not necessary, and just dry frying them alone gives them a lovely toasty, fragrant, extra flavourful kind of impact for the dressing. So I'm just going to pop those in now. So we've already got 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in there. I'm just going to add the finely grated zest of this one. And then all we need to add after that is some finely chopped parsley and mint. So you can easily make this dressing up until a day in advance, but I wouldn't add the chopped herbs until right at the end. And when you do make it a day ahead, all of those gorgeous flavours get more intense and more kind of amalgamated, and it's absolutely spectacular. So even a couple of days would be fine. Just don't add the chopped mint and chopped parsley until before serving. So I'm just going to add, that's a tablespoon each of chopped mint and chopped parsley. Give it a little bit of a whisk, and then we're going to have a bit of fun squashing and getting the stones out of olives. Brace yourself. So this is one of my favourite things to do in the kitchen. It's immensely satisfying, and if you've had a bit of a crappy day, it's a very soothing kind of exercise. So we're just going to squash the olives and take the stones out. And please, when you're making things like this, don't ever buy olives that have already had the stones removed. They have zero flavour, and they add absolutely nothing to the dish. So always buy your olives with the stones in and pit them yourself not long before using them. So this is how you do it. And you seriously don't need a olive pitter to do this. You just bang them with something with a flat surface, and you can just slide the pips out of the middle. And I'm totally fine with them looking all kind of rough and rustic.
Gnarly olives.
Gnarly olives. Love me some gnarly olives. I mean, if you haven't had a bad day and you want something to give your kids to do for half an hour, they can get the stones out of your olives for you. So all we need to do next is, now that the lamb backstraps have been resting for about 10 minutes, I'm just going to slice them thickly and pop them into a serving platter with those gorgeous olives and the dressing that we made a wee bit earlier. As you rest the lamb, it's going to release some of the juices. So make sure that you don't throw that out, because you're going to pour that all over at the end for lots of extra flavour and moisture. Although this looks so incredibly tender and moist, it barely needs it. Beautiful. Oh, that looks absolutely gorgeous.
Your favourite part?
Yeah, this is my favourite part. If you heard Claire just then, I love putting it together. And I mean, everybody has their different way of doing it, but I think whatever kind of pleases your eye is fine, but having something with some order and some randomness seems to work for me. But one of the amazing things about it too is it only took literally 4 minutes to cook. So the most fantastic thing to have in your dinner party repertoire, and you can bang it out on the barbecue in 4 minutes as well. So it's so good. So I'm just going to add the resting juices. Oh, gorgeous. And I'm going to dot in little pockets of the olives. And this is going to work so incredibly well with the salad that we created to go with the lamb dish, with all that fresh tomato. And, we get a mouthful of that with the gorgeous fresh tomato and the kind of tender lamb with the salty olives. It's just a gorgeous combination. And I'm just going to add the dressing. Oh, I know people say this when they do videos, and I always think, oh, it's so cliched, but oh my God, it's so true. It smells so incredible. Ah, too easy. Today we're going to be making the dessert from one of our Dinner for Six recipe sections in the latest issue of Dish. It's a recipe from Claire Aldous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Almond and white chocolate tart, which gets finished off once it's cooked with a beautiful big thick mascarpone cream with lots of raspberries on top and some sliced almonds. Anyway, we'll rip straight into it. Okay, so I've got 110 grams of butter, which is already a little bit soft because it's humid as anything in here today. And I've just chopped up 110 grams of white chocolate as well. And to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of golden syrup. And then just a nice big generous teaspoon of vanilla extract. So in the original recipe, we melted this chocolate mixture over a pot of simmering or boiling water on the stove. But I have faith that I can get this working in the microwave. So I'm just going to heat it in 30-second bursts and show you how it goes along the way. So this has just had about 50 seconds in the microwave. So you can see that it takes barely any time at all. So I'm just going to let this cool for a couple of minutes and then I'm going to whisk in the eggs and the rest of the ingredients. Now I'm just going to whisk in 2 large eggs before I add the dry ingredients. So to this I'm just going to add 120 grams of ground almonds, a tablespoon of corn flour, 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And I'm just going to whisk those in a separate bowl first, just to try and get them amalgamated and get through a few of the lumps. Especially with that corn flour, you don't want big lumps of corn flour through it. Oops. And I'm just going to whisk that in. Oops. So you'll see that the mixture actually looks super wet. Don't freak out, that is exactly how it is supposed to look. And so I've also got already a 35 centimetre by 11 centimetre loose bottomed tart tin ready to go. And the important thing with that is to line it as instructed. You want the baking paper to come well enough up the sides that the filling isn't going to escape as it cooks. So I'm just going to transfer that to the prepared tin. And I've got the oven preheated to 160 degrees fan bake. Make sure that just gets into all the sides. And I'm going to pop that in the oven for 30 minutes. So if you're going to serve this and you want it to look exactly the way it does in the magazine, I've got a little recommendation, and that is that you take a little bit off the edge of the baking paper, because you want it really high in the tin while it's cooking, but while you're decorating it, it can kind of get in the way a little bit. So I'm just going to remove a little bit of that from the sides. And now I've got this delicious big bowl, which has got 3/4 cup of cream mixed with 1/2 cup of mascarpone and also 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm just going to blob this down. And there you have it. No, I'm just joking. So you just want to spread that down the centre. It's nice to get some little hollows in it that your raspberries can drop into. Oops, escapee.
They are perfectly formed.
Oh my God, they're amazing. Beautiful, ginormous. And of course you can serve a few extra raspberries on the side. And we were saying before too that you can make this just as successfully with dark chocolate instead of white chocolate. And you can even substitute, if you'd like to try a different nut, you could try it with hazelnuts, ground hazelnuts or ground walnuts instead of full almonds. But we'd recommend that you do 1/2 and 1/2 almonds and hazelnuts, or 1/2 and 1/2 almonds and walnuts, just because the almonds seem to give it that really fantastic texture that you want, that holds it together as a lovely tart. I'm just going to add a few flaked almonds as well.
Yeah, and it also works better with roasted hazelnuts and walnuts, even though the almonds aren't toasted.
Right.
The ground. The
Yeah. It does, particularly, roasting it really does bring out that kind of flavour, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn that around so you can see it looks as pretty as the picture.
It tastes delicious.
It does taste delicious. So that's the almond and white chocolate tart with raspberries. So this incredibly simple dinner party menu features what we made first, the tomato and roasted capsicum salad with tomato and smoked paprika dressing, lamb backstraps with crushed olives and fennel dressing, and the also incredibly easy to make almond and white chocolate tart with fresh raspberries. All of these recipes are from the latest issue of Dish and part of our brand new series Dinner for Six.